Here we are, once again. Yeah, a couple of, I just, on a personal note, I'm surprised sometimes by how much I can be completely derailed and just turned into, the image I kept getting was like of a chicken whose feathers are all up and it's walking all over the place. Maybe a whole hen house of like crazed, and it's not usually over any apparently big thing. It's over a bunch of like pain in the ass little things. And I'll be okay maybe for the first half dozen, and then suddenly I'm nuts. And just, talking out loud to myself and I can't stand another thing, and then another thing happens and another. And I don't know if that's kind of, I'm in a way setting myself up for that. With when it hits the fan, I tend to be pretty clear. There's an odd clarity to that. Like you can't hang on to the BS and the little stuff that drives you nuts. Suddenly it's like woof, it's a certain degree of focus that's really brings you into the moment and an understanding of what you're in the immediate present. Anyway, I think that's interesting. And the other thing I wrote down was thinking about the rituals I go through before I start a read. And it's really not going through the motions entirely, because I think, you circle the table, you sage yourself, you sage the camera. I do. And, and it both is and isn't arbitrary, because it means something to me, and I use it as a tool for with the intention of getting focused and clear. I think that's what it does for me. I think that intention is, I can't think of a good example of doing it without intention. I mean, maybe just habitually as you think about the things that fluff you up. You're going balk, balk inside while you're doing this. Usually it very quickly, I can kind of bypass into this other kind of space. I'm not sure I've explained it very well, but it, I think it works. It's a mindfulness thing, because it's intention and attention. Please don't, Ruba. You can get up over here. You can come through if you go anyway. It's I feel like the air traffic controller with the cat. I should have the batons. She's pretty smart. Yeah, she's gonna find another way, and she's gonna go sit in the tarot card box. Oh gosh. So the other, yeah, okay. So attention. They're almost the same thing. Hello, my friend. The other thing I was thinking about was, well, I'm back on the business of thinking about renting my house. I live in a beautiful place in a beautiful coastal town, and I could rent this place. I just could. Fast and for a fair amount of, I could pay my taxes. and maybe my back taxes and my taxes, you know. And every time because every summer I go through this, can I rent? Can I do it? If I've got a place to go. And I have finally kind of put it together that, yeah, there's a friend I can leave the cat with. That's always been a big consideration. You know, I have an actual place to go that makes sense. I would want to go anyway. And maybe also do a bit of a walkabout, see some old friends. I mean, yeah, there are things I'm called to do. And, you know, the daunting thing is I live in this house. You know, it's not an Airbnb. It's not a rental property. And it's jammed with stuff. I've lived here for year-round for 25 years. And, you know, had to consolidate into a small amount of space, quite a lot of stuff. You know, since I moved into this house, both my parents died, so their house full of stuff was distributed among the kids. Anyways, there's just been influxes of, and it makes me just sigh. But what I realized too is, it's not like I have to remove all my stuff. It's making me kind of face the business of stuff. Which is not a bad thing. You know, to kind of go through it, to streamline, because you know, I'm in my 60s, and I still have stuff upstairs going back to my baby stuff. So, and I mean, it's kind of it's not a revelation to people who have lived more than a few decades that it seems like you spend the first half of your life accruing it, and then at a certain point you need to divest and you start to, but it's, you know, it's just a monumental task, and I don't expect to ever get it done, but this would be a step toward not only dealing with my stuff, but dealing with how deeply I'm planted in this place. You know, my taproot is like here. And that's both a strength and a weakness. And I feel always kind of both supremely challenged and undone when I'm living somewhere else, but also like oddly liberated. Because to think your only way to plug in is through this place, it's a big way to plug in for me and for a lot of my friends. But it's good to know I can sort of take my taproot with me. It's in here. So that's the moving or renting. It's not even moving yet. It's like renting the place. Heaven help me. So maybe that'll play into this. Probably will. On the split, just because it's interesting. A card of holding back, of blocking, or perhaps of hanging on too tightly to something in the physical realm, like a place. Excuse me, it's like a duh. Pentacles speak to place and time, where you invest, where you live, where you are. And this is like to the point where perhaps you're blocked. I think this is a card of Capricorn. it can be like being stuck in a place. And here is High Priestess, the card of, you know, the intuitive one. The one who is a mystery and guards the mystery. And part of it may be like I said about taking the taproot with you. Well, that's what she would be able to do. She's not place dependent. You know, this is a portal. The white pillar and the black pillar on either side. Somehow the mystery reconciles all those apparent opposites. You know, I'm home or I'm not home. I'm stuck here or I'm taprooted here. I mean, all that stuff. It's not this realm of the physicality of it. It's the untranslatable home where we're planted, major arcana wise. Okay, and that was just on the split. I think that's, once in a while, that's pretty significant. And I'm going to try to hold that in my head, because sometimes I don't, you know, these cards I say, this is significant, and then I completely ignore it in the reading. It's about that physical place. And High Priestess would be the other thing we talked about, that mindfulness, that intention, attention. The ritual, how to enter sort of that sacred place of knowing it. Knowing the energies, the raw energies. Okay? Boy, I really hit it hard this time, and I can see why. 8 of Swords. I felt like I was knocking like with some force, I think, to extricate from a mindset. And it might be the mindset that says, if you leave the physical place, you'll lose the... If you leave the physical home, you'll lose home. And home is really everywhere. You know, we left a place, the place I grew up, which was in Maryland, and it was an absolutely magical place. In a way, kind of run down and ramshackle, and in the sense of being cozy and unpretentious. But in an area of town that became very desirable as a suburb of DC, and suddenly the real estate values went crazy, and the first development I ever saw was in that town. And we used to drive through it as a goof, because all the houses, like every third house was a replica of and we just thought it was funny. Not so funny. But when we left that place, you know, a good proportion of the people who had lived there, like my mother and you know, a number of the kids, just felt like it was I mean, my brother and I were sitting around in this attic room where both of us had at different times lived, because it was a big house. We all moved around and switched. I mean, I lived in I had a bedroom in almost every room in the house. and at one time or another. And when we were going to move, my brother and I were sitting in this attic room. It was just a surreal feeling because a lot of it was packed up and gone. And my dad, in our absence, had thrown out tons of our childhood stuff, just chucked it. And also everything that was in our closet, like clothes that, you know, it was a little weird because I was still in a high school, in boarding school. I was probably 17 years old. I hadn't moved out of it was just odd. And both my brother and I were kind of reeling. And then he said, we're not really leaving. We'll leave our spirits here. We'll haunt the place in a benign way. And he said, our shadows will always be on the wall. We were in a room that was lit, you know, so that we had these shadows cast. And it's sort of like that. If we've expended our energy in a place and loved it, you know, and really inhabited it, that energy lingers in that place, and that place lingers in our energy. There's been enough time to really, it's a permeable membrane in the terrain of the High Priestess that's hard to talk about. Here we go. Out of 8 of Swords. And the Queen of Pentacles. I mean, if anybody takes her home with her, she does. She, he, they. The grounded person, the Earth Mother, the Empress in Minor Arcana. All the Earth signs. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. The ones who show up in 3D and nurture. It you know, it couldn't be further removed from this. This is an up in the head constraint. This is the authentic, real person. And I think the mindset that we need to get out of, at least I do, is the idea that I'm trapped and I can't move. And it's because of the way I'm thinking about stuff. And if I move into her energy and feel, you know, and actually show up as this, that's taproot inside. Excuse me, I'm can't talk. Better, better. Okay. What else? What's in store for this Queen of Pentacles? Okay. Oh, for goodness sakes. Okay. Snort. I snort when I'm happy. It's like, even in, you know, kind of, you know, dinner parties and stuff where it's not really appropriate, and I'm like, you know. Okay. I said, what's in store for the Queen of Pentacles? And we have Queen of Wands. This could be an encounter with a fire sign who's highly intuitive. Because of the cards we turned over in the beginning, 4 of Pentacles, High Priestess, I think this is the same person. Four of Pentacles referring to this energy, because there's a way in which you can be too grounded. You can be Four of Pentacles. You can feel stuck because you're so invested in a particular place. That's what's loud in this. So the High Priestess in her, the intuitive one, this is the expression of that energy in 3D. And it's fire energy. It's like, here I am. I'm all about being grounded in this, in knowing myself. And the one underneath, when I took the Queen of Pentacles, Queen of Wands off, was 10 of Wands. Is this like the divestment I was talking about? Knowing what you can lay down. Because it's, when you're carrying this kind of weight of everything that's been, of your high school papers that you thought were too brilliant to throw away, because I have a few of those up there. It's like, you can divest of them, you can unload them, and it doesn't diminish your who you are energetically, because your life force, bright shining star. And the other one that turned up in that, we got a lot of Wands energy, was 2 of Wands. A decision, a direction, having a plan to go somewhere. See, there's a little globe in his hand. And he's chosen a direction. He, she, they. I mean, I think it's this Queen of Wands, Queen of Pentacles person who realizes, I can move. I can make a plan about where to go. I can prep for it. I can begin to pack up some of my stuff, sift through it. And I don't have to do it in one fell swoop. As I used to say, foul swoop. Oh goodness. The 7 of Swords. Hang on. I'm sorry, 5 of Swords. Well, that is an idea that there's a this side and a that side in your head. And that may be in part what you need to, 8 of Swords, liberate yourself from. The idea that it's that kind of choice. There's a lot to lose. And that may be the mindset that's kind of stinking thinking. Let's see. Yeah, it's a struggle. 2 5s, bam, boom. 5 of Wands. It's a struggle to get out of the mindset. It takes practice. Which makes me think of, remember I said something about, and now I don't know what I've done with the paper, but there it is. Attention. I read somewhere the student goes to the master, the teacher, the spiritual teacher, and says, what's the key? Please, succinctly, like, what do I need to do? And the master says, attention. And the student says, please elaborate. I don't know what that means. And the teacher says, attention, attention, attention. And it's sort of a koan. It's sort of like, huh? But I think it's that mindfulness issue. That's the stance you can take, sort of where everything becomes your teacher. That's the practice. That's the spiritual practice. This is a card of practice, and I think that's sort of what we're talking about. And to move forward from this kind of BS sword energy. To find your purpose, your fire, your passion. Practice, practice, practice. Attention, attention, attention. You know, sort of like that. And fives indicate a change. And a need for change. And it's kind of like work your way out of this mindset. You know, don't expect it to happen. You know, it happens sort of moment to moment. That's mindfulness, is moment to moment to moment. Stepping, you know, I can't explain it anymore without getting garbled. So let's move on. Let's clarify this Two of Wands, the direction, the choice. Wow. It's the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new one. It's rebirth. It's the Judgment card. And also in the sense of a judgment, a choice. Some people read judgment that way. It's like a decision. And it doesn't really match up with how the energy I get off this card, except that it's sort of, as it's paired with this, there is a decision to move forward, and it's you're called to do it, and it leads to a new life. It's a portal to new life. And you're planning to step through it, and I think you're going to. I'd like one on the Eight of Swords, please, the mental trap. Hierophant. One way of reading the Hierophant is orthodoxy, a belief system. And I think in this case, that's it. It's a belief system that has limited you in some way. Because it's Eight of Swords. It's about beliefs. And so is this. And it can be your higher power. And somehow you're cut off from that Eight of Swords because of some, you know, restrictive belief system. Because Hierophant can mean that too. But you're moving forward from that Two of Wands into this kind of resurrection. Okay, on let's go right to Five of Wands, the struggle. It's with an established connection. Long term. Loving. And I like that on Five of Wands. It's sort of like working it out, you know, not getting it right, but what you're struggling for is a loving connection. How to show up that way. On 5 of Swords, there's two-sided beliefs. 6 of Wands, again, fire all over this land, and we have the 5 and the 6. 5 of Wands, 6 of Wands. 5 of Swords, 6 of Wands. This is a card of victory. In this struggle, there is a degree of victory. You know, the visible winner. On this sort of card, 5 of Swords, no-win situation. Devil. Well, I think 5 of Swords is a kind of devil energy. It's divisive. It's a mindset that says, it's a mindset that says that duality thing, you're here or you're there, you're on this side or you're on that side. And it's something that holds you back. And again, this Capricorn energy can be too grounded. So it's victory over what holds you back in 3D energy, Capricorn energy. And in that initial 4 of Pentacles we saw, and I said it's Capricorn energy, there it is. But it's a celebratory fire victory over what holds you back. One on Queen of Pentacles, please. Emperor. You know, Emperor rules a realm. And so would she. She's the material expression of this energy. She's a softer expression of this energy because Emperor is a bit dictatorial. Can be. But when it's modified, well, I'm not sure. I'm a little confused by that. And this, I think, is going to help to explain it. King of Pentacles. Well, I did say with this card that she's Empress energy. You, she, they. Empress energy. To which this character would be a match. The match. King of Pentacles. And it's possible that these two people together, earth signs don't have to be Virgo, Taurus, Gemini, but might well be together equal emperor. They rule together, something like that. So that sort of takes away that sense of the authoritarian, the dictator aspect of emperor, because he's sharing power. He, she, they are sharing power. Let's put it that way. And the one that was on the bottom of the deck over here, okay, oh my God, King of Cups, the king who feels so much that it sometimes overwhelms them. Emperor is all the kings. Emperor is all the kings. In Knight of Cups energy, coming in, showing himself, showing his feelings, revealing his feelings. And the last card, I'm just going to cover because I really need to stop it now. They're saying, stop, is Empress, who's been implicit on the board from the get-go. Taurus energy, Earth Mother energy, Queen of Pentacles energy. We've talked about her already, and she's identical with, because she's all the queens. Queen of Wands, Queen of Pentacles. Same, same. An offer's coming in to her. Possibly the other direction. Or back and forth. But there's love between these two. Earthly, archetypally. Empress, Emperor on the board. King and Queen of Pentacles. How they express in 3D on the board. And I think this, it is a marriage. It is a union. But not maybe sanctified by the sort of orthodox hierarchy. It's a different thing. It's a new way. It's busted out of sort of the corset of traditional thought. So these guys come together in a very powerful union that I don't think is going to be, maybe sanctioned by traditional marriage paradigm. Whatever it is, though, it's a strong bond in 3D that channels this archetypal energy of the yin yang. It's the highest expression of that. I mean, holy mackerel, you guys. Burdens do need to be laid down, but super grounded. Get out of a mindset a traditional mindset. Whatever it is that holds you back, you're going to, 6 of Wands, have victory over it. And what holds you back is some kind of divisive mindset that says, here, not there. Because from the higher perspective, there is a space we occupy that is not dependent upon the material realm, but expresses through it when we're aligned in a certain way. Our physical life kind of becomes the vehicle, the receptacle for this energy. I think that's something really to aspire to. And I think we get there through this kind of mindfulness, moment to moment pace. Grounded, stable in ourselves and in each other. Love is on the way. Love is always on the way. Carry on.